It's wonderful to welcome once again to this program, Mallory Johnson, country musician extraordinaire. She has two bases, Newfoundland and Nashville. So she shuttles across those two places. Her new single, with a very provocative title, is Fuck That. So there's the full-blown F word right there. Mallory Johnson, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be back and have a little chat about all the new stuff. So I appreciate you having me on here.
Oh yeah. So I think ever since our last chat, you've sent me the CD version to your album,
That's
Party,
right. I'm glad you got it.
and you've signed it too. I believe I got it
Yeah.
in September of last year, and I've been
hmm
listening to it even just now, actually.
Well,
Um,
thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, it's a wonderful album.
Thank
So
you.
tell me, in your judgment, to what extent was the album a success?
Honestly, the album exceeded my expectations. I mean, it definitely was a passion project. It's not always the wisest thing, I think, in these days where artists want to release full albums. A lot of times it's like single, 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 or an EP. But the artist in me just wanted to do a full project. I wanted to do a concept project and just kind of experience all of it, getting to create, the liner notes and just the design and the overall theme. And I've had a very wonderful team help me with all of that. And yeah, the album got a lot of firsts for me. It was the first time I got a CCMA nomination as an artist in the artist category. That was up for Alternative Country Album of the Year. And it took home an ECMA for me last year. I got to play some bucket list festivals that I hadn't played in the past. I was lucky to be able to be direct support for this great band called the Washboard Union at George Street Festival, which is a festival in my backyard in Newfoundland, but I've never had the chance to play it myself as an artist. I've backed up other bands and stuff before as a vocalist, but it was my first time playing that festival as a solo artist. And Cavendish Beach Music Festival and PEI. So there was lots to celebrate with that record, and I'm really proud of it. And yeah, I'm excited to kind of keep that momentum going with a new project and see what happens.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's wonderful.
Mhm.
Um,
Thank you.
One thing I like about artists releasing full-length albums or even like EPs is that sometimes they put out physical media like this one, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm one of those people who would like to purchase and collect physical medias. In this case, CDs for me. I think because of
Mhm.
all the arbitrary rules about royalty that streaming services seem to be going on nowadays. Yeah, CD seems to be a more reliable way to go in terms of artists making money, and I guess
Oh, what 100%. And
yeah,
it's just fun. Even if a CD is used as a coaster half the time, just having the physical copy and vinyl as well. That was another big reason I wanted to do a full record is because I wanted to have a vinyl in my hands of the
oh yeah,
project. And yeah, I love that I did that. And yeah, hopefully be able to continue that with projects going forward, be able to have the physical copies.
yeah, and of course it gives us listeners something to hold like in our two hands.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's recap some recent important events that happened in your life as of this
Mhm.
recording. So the ECMAs, East Coast Music Awards, happened just I think it was this past weekend. So tell me about it.
Yeah. The ECMAs were super fun. I was up. I was nominated for Fans Choice Entertainer as well as Video of the Year. And honestly, it was one of my. Even though I didn't get to take home any hardware, it's fine. I have some ECMAs on my shelf at home, so I wasn't unhappy. I was really really excited for everyone who got to take that home. But honestly, it was probably one of the most fun I've had at an ECMAs in terms of just kind of celebrating everybody. And of course, every year you go, you get to know more people. So it just becomes a bigger family and a bigger party. And I made a lot of great connections. I feel like I made more connections within the industry this time than I have in the past. And it was just such a rewarding weekend. It was just so much fun to celebrate and test out new music. And yeah, everyone just kind of showed up for each other. All my Newfoundland friends, when they were done their showcases, they stayed up really late to see mine, and they all showed up in the front row. It just made me feel so good. And yeah, it was just a beautiful weekend of everyone just supporting each other and celebrating each other and jamming and very little sleep. But no, it was a really, really great weekend, I think, all around.
Mhm. That's wonderful. So
Mhm.
second is your birthday, which is also recently. So
Yes.
yeah, happy
Thank you for
belated
remembering that.
birthday, and how did you
Thank you.
celebrate it?
Well, I celebrated there. I celebrated at the ECMAs. Went
Mhm.
out for breakfast and dinner. Got to celebrate with a lot of my music pals. So it's kind of fun because every year my birthday kind of falls around the East Coast Music Awards. So it's always a party, and I kind of get to celebrate it. I get to extend the celebrations, I guess you could say, because my friends in Nashville, I'll do a little celebration there. And then the ECMAs, of course, is a big party. And then when I come home to Newfoundland, I usually do that after the ECMAs. I get to celebrate with my family. So I love birthdays. I think it should be a week-long event, not just a day.
Yes, I certainly hope so for mine.
Mhm.
So I'm glad to hear that the joy of celebrating birthdays has not diminished with age in your case.
No, I think it's good to celebrate being alive. The alternative is not so good. So I think it's
Oh yeah.
worth a celebration.
Hmm. And of course, this past weekend is also Mother's Day. So
Mhm.
yeah. So I believe, if I'm not wrong, your mother is also a musician. So tell us a bit about her.
Yeah, she is a musician, and I grew up listening to her. I think she's kind of the main reason I got into music. Well, she was 9 months pregnant with me when she was on stage,
Mhm.
so I was literally born into it. And she grew up. Well, she sang country music most of her life, and she still does. And when I was, I guess, 11, I think is when we started. Myself and my mom and my uncle and my cousin, we did a Celtic traditional Scottish Irish Newfoundland band. So that's kind of when I started with my professional career, was with that band. And yeah, so she's still doing it, and she inspires me every day. Her and my uncle just did a tour around the province a few weeks back, and the ticket sales, they were sold out for most of the shows. So yeah, she's still doing it, and she has lots of fans, and hopefully there'll be a lot more shows this summer that I'll be able to attend, because I didn't get to see this last tour that she just did. So yeah, that's she's doing great. She's doing great. And of course, Mother's Day, we celebrated her, and we got to have lobster and hang out, and yeah, just have a good time.
All right. Yeah. Send her my best. But yeah.
I will. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So summers are often busy for musicians like yourself. So tell me about
Mhm.
your plans and shows for the summer.
Yeah, well, the end of May, which is coming up real quick, I'm heading to Scotland. I'm performing at the Orkney Folk Festival in the Orkney Islands, and which I'm really, really excited about. I love Scotland. I think it's so beautiful, and a lot of my family originate from there. So um, I just can't wait to go back. And what's fun this time around is I have a lot of friends who are also playing the festival that are going from Newfoundland. Quote the Raven is one of those bands, Rum Ragged, and then another band from the East Coast, East Pointers, are headed over there. So we have good representation from the East Coast going to that festival. So I'm really excited about that one. And I'm also playing the Stan Rogers Folk Festival. And there might be some other summer shows that haven't been announced yet, but I will announce them when I'm allowed to. And yeah, that, and then going back in the studio. I'm in the middle of recording a brand new album with Andrew Petroff, and we have a handful of the songs done, but June in particular is going to be a busy recording month. So I want to get that record done. So yeah, busy.
Mhm. Yeah, I've had a chance to interview Tim from the East Pointers on this program.
Mm.
It was like a year or two back. It was a fun podcast.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they are so talented. Such a pleasure to watch. They're just have always have the audience in the palm of their hand. They're so good.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe it was during the release of their EP, which was I think partly in memory of their deceased member Cody. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, they're
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, they're incredible. They were great at the ECMAs too. I saw some of their performances over the weekend. So, yeah, they were really great.
Yeah. So about your latest album, or sorry, your upcoming album, Have you
Yeah.
got a title and a release date ready?
I do have a title, but it's a secret. I can't share that yet. Release date is also to be determined. I mean, I kind of want it to be in spring of 2025, but we all know those plans change. So that's the goal right now. But so I don't have a particular release date, and I can't share the title. A little too soon.
Well, I look forward to it nonetheless, and
Thank you.
I look forward to having you on the show once again once the album is out.
Yeah, of course. Love to.
And I think one thing is for certain is perhaps your new single, which is titled "Fuck That," will be on the album, I suppose.
It sure will. It's the debut single for that album. And, I kind of wanted to make a bold move, and why not do that with the boldest song I think that's going on the project? I really kind of wanted to introduce the album having this kind of uncomfortably honest tone. And not that all of the songs like will be dark or dreary or that kind of thing, but there definitely will be um, a lot more songs in this project that are it's a little less sparkly, a little less about celebrating than like my last album, Surprise Party, literally.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to the new sound. I don't want to depart too far from what I've put out. I'm still me. I think, the continuity and consistency with my voice and my songwriting, I'm still a country girl, but I do come from folk roots. I come from Celtic roots, and the singer-songwriter in me, like, I just want to have the lyrics shine and not be so focused on necessarily if this sounds country.
Mhm.
Because honestly, these days the umbrella of country music is so many things anyway. So yeah, I'm just kind of going in with this mentality of just experimenting and exploring and just finding sounds that I think are really cool and really complement the song and the contents of the song. And Andrew Petrov is the perfect producer for this. He's been so wonderful. We spend just hours and hours in his home studio just playing around on things, and he encourages me to play a lot of the instruments myself. Like on this new single, it's me playing that steady electric guitar, and it's been really fun to do that, to have the confidence to be able to be a session musician on the tracks just as much as being the lead vocal. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Mhm.
And yeah, like I said, it's gonna sound a little bit different, but I think at its core, it's still me. And I think, the fans who are fans of me in previous projects, I would hope that they would like the new one too.
So I'm
Yeah.
guessing this is a new era for the Mallory Johnson music discography.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've been calling it. If I had to compare, if we're talking eras, because we know that's Taylor Swift territory when we talk about eras, I feel like I'm not comparing myself to her in any way, shape, or form as an artist or, what she does, but it's kind of my version of Reputation, the
Mm,
Reputation era. So, um, yeah, that's kind of where I think this album is gonna live. It's kind of, like I said, in the uncomfortably honest, little darker, little more edgy, little more brave, little more bold. That's my goals anyway. And like I said, I wanted to lead in with this song. Fuck that. So yeah.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I was growing up, I would always look for albums. I think between the ages of 12 to 15, I would always look for albums with the small black and white parental advisory label. You know,
Yeah.
somehow I just automatically translate it as automatically good, despite
Yeah.
whatever the
Yeah.
genre. So I
I'm
wonder,
like that with I'm
yeah.
like that with TV shows. I,
Mhm.
I think like if a TV show or a movie is not at least like a 14A or like adult rating, I'm just like, I'm probably not gonna like it. It's just where I'm at. Yeah.
So I wonder, because of the single, would your album receive that parental advisory sticker treatment?
I think it would have to. I think well the physical copies at least would have to have that label. And then of course with the DSPs, they would have those little E next to particular songs that have the language. So yeah, I would assume that that might be necessary. I don't know what the rules are, but I would imagine if there's explicit language, you need to have that logo or that label.
Okay. Well,
Mhm.
of course, now's the time for you to tell us about the song and the title.
Yeah, so it's a heavy one. A lot of layers. It was a song that did not easily fall out. It took myself and my co-writer Brian Donkers 3 full sessions, I think, which is like each session is like 4 hours long. It took us a while to get it right, because of the content, and I knew it was important, and I wanted to be very intentional. And yeah, it was a difficult one to get out and on the paper. And I guess it was just kind of inspired by just a buildup of emotions and kind of letdowns and just being knocked down by the music industry. I mean, there's lots of beautiful things about the industry. I wouldn't be in it if I didn't love it. I love the industry. I think the victories are like this most amazing high, and being on stage in front of crowds and writing songs and recording songs, like there's so many highs within the industry. But a lot of times people don't see behind the curtain and see the lows. And I guess about a year ago, I was having just a rough time. I had another knockdown, and it just kind of, that was the straw in the camel's back. Is that the phrase? Or like the last potato in the sack that just kind of, I was like, ugh, screw it. Like, I'm not gonna chase this anymore. I'm gonna, to hell with it. I'm gonna do what feels 100% me, authentic. I'm gonna go this way. I don't even want to be bothered with that. And I had this writing session with Brian, and I was just kind of venting about what was going on. And then I just started to talk about a lot of stuff that I'd been disappointed by. And then that went from professional to personal, and just a lot of things that I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to air it all out. I don't even care. That was kind of the attitude. And the title, like, fuck that. That was a placeholder in the chorus for the first few songwriting sessions. I knew I wanted something that powerful. I kept saying in the right with Brian, I said, oh, like, I just want to say fuck that. I just want to say that, but I don't know if I can say that. And he was like, well, let's just keep it as a placeholder for now, because like that's essentially what you want to say. And everything we tried to replace it with, like, that was less, I guess, explicit or aggressive, it just didn't feel right. It didn't have the same power. It felt a little bit cheesy. And the more I sang it and the more I listened back to the work tapes, the more I fell in love with it. And I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not just go there? Why not just say exactly how I feel? So I'm really happy we kept it with that, and we're brave enough to actually title it that. And honestly, it's been my favorite song to play live because of the response. And I just think it's powerful, and it's vulnerable, and it's liberating. And yeah, when I get to play that live and I hit that line, there hasn't been a time yet where I haven't had a response from the audience, whether it's been claps or cheers. It's been rewarding every single time. And yeah, now I'm like, I don't know what I was scared of to put it out. I'm so happy I put it out, because it was difficult. I was like, I sent the work tape to my parents when we finished writing the song, and I immediately was like, here's a new song. I really love it, but I'm really sorry about the F word, F bombs. And my mom got back to me right away after she listened to it and said, wow, I really love it, but are you brave enough to sing it in public? And I've been singing it in public. And I told her, for the right audience, yeah. And so far, everyone's been the right audience. So yeah, I'm really, really proud of it. And I hope that I kind of hope it doesn't relate to a lot of people, because it's kind of dark. You don't really want so many people to necessarily relate to some of those things, but unfortunately, they do. And I just hope it provides comfort and it resonates with people. And yeah, it's kind of, I wanted to take one for the team and call out some of the people who deserve to be called out. So yeah, that's kind of story long, what this song, where it came from, and what it's come to be. And yeah, I'm excited to kind of see where it goes next. And we have a music video done for it, and yeah, we're not done promoting it yet. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Mhm. And yeah, it's a lovely song, and it's a very
Thank
bold
you.
song, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you mentioned the relatability factor, and I wonder, when artists write about working in the music business and
Hmm.
challenges and difficulties and such, I wonder, in your personal case, how would you make that topic, which is personal to you and perhaps esoteric to your line
Oh,
of
good.
work. How do you make that relatable to someone who is not in the music business?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, well, the lyrical content of the song, I know there are some lines that definitely are specific to, I guess, what the music industry would be, but for the most part, it's not. Like a lot of the lyrics, I think, can kind of relate to anyone who's been challenged or has struggled within whatever industry they're in, and not even necessarily an industry. It's just kind of a very self-reflective kind of um, yeah, it's just a song about kind of breaking away from limitations or the things that don't suit you or don't value or things that you don't value. And um, yeah, I think it can relate to a lot of people outside of the music industry. And I've witnessed that. I've had so many people not in the industry who have sent me private messages or told me in person how much they love the song and it feels like their story. And honestly, I think sometimes the more specific you are or more personal you are when you're writing a song, the more it resonates with people and the more that they kind of insert themselves into that story. And yeah, I mean, for a song that kind of started out as just being for me, like getting those feelings out, it's been really incredible to see, people in all walks of life or different industries already just the response with this song in such a short period of time. Just people kind of embracing it and lifting it up and sharing it. And yeah, so yeah, I don't. There are obviously a couple lines, like I said, that definitely are specific to the industry, but I think people kind of look past that and kind of, like I said, insert their own stories in those lines, and I
Mhm,
still think it's relatable.
mhm. Yes, and perhaps a somewhat implicit theme that I discovered in this song as well as some of your other songs is how lonely it can be as a musician. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a musician, but having spent a lot of time in the academic world and perhaps will spend more time in it too, I find that if you're really committed to that line of work, the respective line of work that you and I are undertaking, academic for me and music for you, it can be very lonely because you have people who are outside of that line of work who, maybe you can talk to, but not on such a level that they can understand you because to understand you, they have to understand what you do. And
Yeah.
also those who are in your line of work, they may not be as close as friends as you expect them to be. I
Mm.
mean, I'm sure you have no friends, but uh, but I'm sure that the lonely night still visits you every now and then, I presume.
Yeah, it's definitely a lonely industry. You're absolutely right. And yeah, it's tough. I definitely, I have my circles of friends, and it's an industry where, you have to go out and you have to network and schmooze and go see shows, and that's really fun. I'm definitely an extroverted introvert, so I enjoy doing all those things and going out and socializing, but my social battery can get pretty drained pretty quickly, and then I like to go home and watch Netflix and put on some comfy clothes and have a glass of wine and eat some popcorn or something. But yeah, it can definitely be very lonely. And it's important to know who your true friends are. I think it's important to surround yourself with like-minded people. And honestly, this is what I love about having a foot in Nashville and a foot in Newfoundland is that when I'm in Nashville, I'm with a group of friends who we're all in the same industry, and we get each other, we're able to vent and unload and just kind of talk about what's going on, like what are some of the highs, what are some of the lows, and they just get it. We don't need to preface anything. But then I get to come home to Newfoundland, and then I get to hear about the lives of all my friends who aren't in the industry, and that's super refreshing and inspiring. And so I love having a foot in both places because I get equally inspired, and it's like it's just a new scene. It's just a refresh, a reset, and yeah, I love that. But it's very important to have the right friends, the right people, because like you said, uh, not everybody has your best interest in mind, and some people are just out for themselves. And it's a lonely career choice. You might not, a lot of people don't think it's lonely, but I do spend a lot of time alone. So yeah, you're right.
Yes, of course. But
Mm.
as you've alluded to, you wouldn't have kept at it for however long that you've kept at it if you don't love it, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I do. I love it. I can't imagine doing anything else. And if I was doing something else, I think it would still be within the same realm of the industry. If I wasn't an artist, I would still, whether it be marketing or working with a label or with promotions or social media or, just songwriting. I equally love songwriting as much as I love being an artist. So I kind of don't want to do one without the other, to be honest. So yeah, I still think I would kind of be dabbling in something within the industry because I love it so much.
So ever since our last conversation, I've gotten to know more wonderful young talents hailing from Newfoundland as well. I
Hmm.
think Summer Bennett and Becca Bartlett. Those are names that
Yeah,
you probably would recognize. Yeah, it's
yeah.
wonderful to see that they are they've exhibited so much talent and so much confidence at their ages.
Yeah, it's really great to see the next generation of artists leveling up. And I think they have so much potential to be really, really great as the longer they're in it, they're
Mhm.
already great. So yeah, it's really awesome to see that and to see a lot of other artists kind of sending the elevator back down and helping each other out. So Newfoundland's good for that. So it's really wonderful to watch for sure.
I don't know if we've touched on this in our last conversation, but do you ever see yourself as a mentor to younger musicians like the ones I've mentioned?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I've kind of already played that role a few times with some artists and I love it. I think that, why keep that information to myself? If I can help out somebody I believe in and the next artist or give them advice, I think that's so important. And I think that's how we keep good music out. You help the next person. And yeah, I think kindness goes a long way. And why not? Why not help them out? Um, I actually have an education degree as well, and I taught music for years, so that's kind of instilled in me anyway. But yeah, I think it's so important as artists as they move throughout their career, like I said, to send that elevator back down and help out the next generation for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So one more question to wrap this up.
Yeah.
So what is the best advice that your mom has for you music-wise?
I honestly, it's just simple. It's just like just keep doing it. If something knocks me down, don't let it defeat me. Don't quit. Uh, because like just kind of circling back to that new song, you can get knocked down pretty hard, and this industry is full of the no's and full of the letdowns. But um, just keep going, keep doing it, keep hustling. It's the grassroots way can be the best way. Nothing is an overnight success. There's no such thing.
Mhm.
So yeah, and I think the letdowns and the disappointments make the good moments even sweeter. So and just more to celebrate. So I kind of have this thing where I keep a bottle of prosecco or champagne in my fridge at all times. So it's ready for any kind of celebration, whether it's just releasing a song or if you land a really cool playlist or if you get a cool gig or it's someone's birthday, I always like to have something in my fridge to celebrate because it's a big deal. Every win is a big win.
Mhm. Well, yeah, speaking for myself, I'm very glad that you've chosen to be on the music business, and I'm glad you've stayed on for this long. Thank you very much again,
Thank you.
Mallory
Thank you.
Johnson, for joining the show.
Thank you for having me.